everyone, this is Karen.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane.
Today we're looking at part 1 of body temperatures aren't as simple as we think. And the vocabulary words are average.
Average.
A new study says that the average age of marriage is increasing.
Normal.
Normal.
Troy recovered completely from the illness and was able to live a normal life.
Nice. Data.
Data.
The company promised to protect its customers' personal data.
Decade.
Decade.
I haven't seen my friend Benji in over a decade.
Advance.
Advance.
Advances in technology have made it easier to stay connected to loved ones. So we're talking about body temperatures, right?
Yeah, I'm a little bit cold.
Are you
right
cold?
now. Yeah, I think the air conditioner in here is a little bit too cold.
Well, but it's so hot outside.
Well, I mean,
I think everywhere we
Taiwan's
go.
always hot. I
True.
mean, well, except like when you get into like winter, right?
That's when you don't need air conditioning.
Yeah, but our body temperatures are going down actually because we think of 37 should be the normal body temperature.
You're right.
But in fact, the normal body temperature, or the average, is actually 36.6.
So it has gone down.
And it might be because of like air conditioning and living in more comfortable environments. Our body doesn't need to regulate itself as much, and so our body temperature has gone down.
So the new normal temperature for body is actually 36.6 rather than 37.
That's right. And it also might be because of our overall health.
Okay.
Because if you have inflammation in your body and your body's not that healthy,
Then the temperature would go up.
it'll go up, yeah. But when your body's working very well and there's no inflammation, your body temperature goes down. So in general, people are more healthy than they used to be.
Interesting facts about body temperatures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, let's learn more.
All right, enjoy.
Body temperatures aren't as simple as we think. Quick, what's the average human body temperature? Well, if you said 37 degrees Celsius, you are wrong. It turns out that the average body temperature has dropped in the past 150 years, according to a new study.
Today's lesson is called Body Temperatures Aren't as Simple as We Think. Part 1. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
And I'm Mike. And yes, body temperature is something that we are much more aware of. We think much more about these days because of COVID-19. Many places that you go, before you're even allowed into the building, they will check your body temperature. Now, of course, we know that's right. We know that anything under 37 is just fine these days, but let's look at this idea of body temperature in a bigger kind of way. Not just about COVID-19, but about, well, why, where, how, and what number is the right number. It's actually going to be quite surprising that the ideas on this have changed over time.
How interesting. Okay, let's get into things quick. What's the average human body temperature? So here we're not talking about, people with high fevers and stuff like that. No. Your regular, normal person, what is their body temperature? That's the idea here. That's the average human body temperature. If you randomly selected someone out of a crowd of people and that person didn't have a high fever, what temperature would they have? And I believe in Fahrenheit that number would be like 98.6 or something like that. And in Celsius, it would be somewhere between 36 and then 37. That would be the average human body temperature. But here, yes, average means regular, normal, so on and so forth. Anyways, for example, a new study says that the average age of marriage is increasing. There you go. On average, that number is increasing.
Okay, so that's sort of the most common number you would find.
Normal, regular, you got it.
If you looked at a big group. So what is the average body temperature? Well, the article tells us if you said 37 degrees Celsius, you are wrong. Oh, interesting. We always kind of thought that anything over 37 is a little weird, but anything, as you said, between kind of 36, 36.5, 37, that's about average, right? No, wrong. That is not correct. It turns out that the average body temperature has dropped in the past 150 years, according to a new study.
So people were hotter in the past than they are now. How interesting.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to the bottom of this. We'll start to do so after we take a short break. We'll see you then.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。前阵子因为新冠肺炎的疫情，大家都会特别注意自己的体温。那这2天的课文呢，就是关于人体的体温。课文一开始就问一个问题啦：人体的平均温度是多少？快，赶快回答！好，如果你回答摄氏37度，那就错了。根据一项新的研究，在过去150年，人体的平均体温已经下降咯。我们先来看单字 average。它可以当形容词形容平均的、通常的或是普通的，它也可以当名词来指平均值。那么片语 on average 就可以用来表达平均而言怎么样。好，那么补充单字 Celsius 它是形容摄氏的，温度是摄氏几度那个摄氏的。那我们顺便学一下 Fahrenheit。Fahrenheit 是指华氏的。好，那这边还有2个重点。第一个 turn out 它表示结果是怎么样，最终发现是怎么样。那么常常会用句型 it turns out 再加 that 子句来表达。那么 it 是虚主词，用来代替 that 子句。例如It turns out that the restaurant has moved to a new location. 结果发现那间餐厅已经搬迁到新的地点了。第2个重点 according to 它表示根据或是按什么什么所记载，像是根据某人所说的按照某个资讯报道等等所记载。例如 according to the police,The murderer turned himself in yesterday. 根据警方说法，那位杀人凶手昨天主动投案了。接下来课文中
Body temperatures aren't as simple as we think.
What everybody grew up learning, which is that our normal temperature is 37, is wrong,
said Julie Parsonette, a Stanford University medical professor. She and her team looked at medical data from 3 different time periods, 1862 to 1930, 1971 to 1975, and 2007 to 2017. Comparing the data, they found that body temperatures had decreased by about 0.02 degrees Celsius per decade. So, what's the new normal? It's 36.6 degrees Celsius, says the study.
Okay, body temperature. Apparently, body temperatures have actually dropped on average over the last 150 years or so. How interesting. Now, what everybody grew up learning, which is that our normal temperature is 37, about 37 degrees, it's wrong, said Julie Parsonette, a Stanford University medical professor, and you should probably listen to this person. Stanford is a really, really good university, and she is a professor there. She's an expert.
So she's probably a doctor of some kind, and she's studied this very, very carefully in great depth. So 150 years ago, your great-great-grandparents might have had an average temperature higher than yours. So there you go. It's been going down. Considering 37 to be the normal temperature is wrong. What is normal? Well, it's kind of like average, the way we used that word just earlier. It means it's usual, it's regular, it's common, it's normal, it's not strange, it's not weird, it's not unusual, it's not shocking or bizarre. It's very normal. It's what you would expect to find. For example, Troy recovered completely from the illness and was able to live a normal life. He went right back to his normal life as if nothing changed.
There you go. Now, she and her team, and we're still talking about Julie Parsonette, she and her team looked at medical data from 3 different time periods, 1862 to 1930, 1971 to 1975, and 2007 to 2017. These are all years and ranges of time. So yes, here the word data for the most part means information, usually information that has been organized in some way so that you can analyze it. For example, the company promised to protect its customers' personal data. You could have said here their personal information. That would have meant the same thing. Anyways, this team of researchers, they went through this data and they found something pretty interesting.
Interesting. So they're just collecting information from different times, and hopefully by looking at it all, they can see what difference those times make. It says comparing the data, we could also say, they found that body temperatures had decreased or gone down by about 0.02 degrees Celsius per decade. So that seems very small, but if we're talking about a small change per decade and then we add it into 100 years, that would be a much bigger change, because a decade is only a 10-year period. That's what this noun means. We just say a decade instead of saying every 10 years or each 10 years, or it happens in 10 years. It happens in a decade ago, 10 years ago. That's all it means. For example, I haven't seen my friend Benji in over a decade. I haven't seen my friend Benji in over 10 years. So, the question that we reach right before the break is, so what's the new normal? What's the new average or normal body temperature?
It should be lower.
It should be lower.
It shouldn't be 37. In fact, it's 36.6 degrees Celsius, says the study. So there you go. Body temperatures drop per decade by about 0.02 degrees. Interesting. Anyways, we'll have more on this right after we take another break. See you soon.
我们从小到大可能都认为人体的正常温度是37度，但这其实是错的。史丹佛大学一位医学教授和他的团队就去检视了3个不同时期的医疗数据。第一个是1862年到1930年这个时期，那么第二个是1971年到1975年，第三个是2007到2017年。那么对比数据之后发现，每10年体温下降了大约摄氏0.02度。那么现在的新的标准则是摄氏36.6度哦。我们来看3个单字 ，normal。Normal 它可以形容正常的、普通的，那么这个字也可以当名词来指正常或标准。好，那么一般普通正常的事物呢，应该不会让人觉得很奇怪或是感到很震惊。这时候 Mike 老师用到 weird 和 bizarre 都可以用来形容奇怪的或怪异的，那它们是拼作 W-E-I-R-D weird。或者是 B-I-Z-A-R-R-E bizarre。好，老师还有用到 shocking， 是拼作 S-H-O-C-K-I-N-G， shocking 可以形容令人震惊的。下一个单字 data 或是念作 data， 它是表达资料、数据。那么 decade 则是指10年。这句话课文中。
Body temperatures aren't as simple as we think. As for the cause, one possibility is that living in temperature-controlled buildings has changed our bodies. They don't need to work as hard to maintain a normal temperature. Another is less inflammation in people's bodies. Inflammation causes your body to use more energy, which increases body temperature. Advances in medical treatments and improved standards of living have led to less inflammation across the population compared to 200 years ago. Whatever the cause is, simply put, our bodies are changing.
Our body temperatures are dropping. They're decreasing slowly. Why? Well, as for the cause, one possibility is that living in temperature-controlled buildings has changed our bodies. So yeah, 150 years ago, there wasn't AC or anything like that. We now have temperature and climate controlled buildings that we work in and live in, and apparently this has changed our bodies.
Interesting. As it says, our bodies, they don't need to work as hard to maintain a normal temperature. I guess this would be especially true in the winter time, right? And back in the old days, in the winter time, if you were cold, well, you couldn't really just turn something or turn on a machine. You had to wear more clothes or move your body a little bit more to keep your temperature
up. Chop down a tree and burn it.
Chop down a tree and burn it too. That would help to raise your temperature. But of course now everything can be controlled. We can live 12 months a year in a comfortable 25 or 26 degrees, whatever we choose. So of course our bodies don't need to work as hard to keep this normal temperature. It says another is less inflammation in people's bodies.
Yeah.
Inflammation.
People are healthier than they were 150 years ago.
That's true,
okay,
yeah, sure.
So very often when people are ill, inflammation is a result, or result from being ill, I should say. Further, inflammation causes your body to use more energy, which increases body temperature. There you go. These are all really good reasons that I hadn't even thought about. Nowadays, we do live in a climate-controlled world. Further, we're healthier than before, so it makes total sense that maybe our body temperature would respond to these things.
That's right. Okay, so inflammation is basically when parts of your body get hurt. They might become full of blood to help the healing. You might see this if you twist your wrist or hurt your knee and you notice it gets a little bit fatter, a little bit bigger. That's the blood moving in there. And if you've ever touched a sort of swollen or inflamed area, you notice how warm it is, right? Because of all the blood in there. But these days, with better exercise and special clothing and medicine, these problems aren't so great. As it says, advances in medical treatments and improved standards of living have led to less inflammation across the population compared to 200 years ago.
We're healthier.
We're healthier
than before, and a lot of this is due to advances in medical treatments. By the way, here we're using the word advance as a noun. When you're talking about an advance in something, we're talking about a step forward, an instance of progress, of making progress. Now, you can also use this word advance as a verb. If you advance, you move forward. That's all there is to it. For example, advances in technology have made it easier to stay connected to loved ones. So there you go. Very simply, we're healthier than before, better medicine, less inflammation, lower body temperature.
That's right. Also, the nature of our work has changed. More people work sitting down and not working out on a farm using their muscles where you could injure yourself and get inflammation in other ways there too. Well, whatever the cause is, whatever the reason for this lowering of the body temperature, whatever the cause is, simply put, our bodies are changing. There are different reasons for it, but it is happening, so that's the reality. The average temperature is going down.
There you go. All right, folks, with that, today's lesson is in the books, and it's time for us to say bye-bye.
为什么人体的平均体温会下降呢？好，有一种可能是因为现代人都生活在温度有受到控制的建筑里面，我们的身体就不需要花那么多的力气来维持正常温度。那另外一个可能的原因是人体的发炎症状减少了。发炎会让我们身体消耗更多精力，会让体温升高。而因为现代医疗进步和生活水准提升，跟200年前比起来呢，我们现在整体人口的发炎减少了。好，这边有一个单字 advance 可以当名词或动词来表达进展、进步。好，那么补充单字 inflammation 它表示发炎症状。麦克老师在解释单字时呢，用到 inflamed 这个字。inflamed inflamed 也是形容发炎的。老师还有提到 swollen 则是指肿胀的、肿大的，这个字是拼作 swollen swollen。好，那么课文最后一句写到说，不管原因是什么，简单来说，我们的身体正在改变。那这边有2个重点，第一个是 whatever， 它表示无论不管什么，在这边就跟 no matter what 意思相同。那么 whatever 引导的副词子句呢，你可以把它摆在主要子句之前或是之后。例如 whatever he says, don't believe him， 也可以说 no matter what he says, don't believe him， 无论他说什么都不要相信他。第二个重点 simply put 它是指说简单的说，简而言之。那这是由 to put it simply 简化而来。那么 put 在这边是说表达的意思。例如 simply put it's out of our budget 简单的说，这超出我们的预算了。好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
各位同学大家好，我是建安老师。我们今天带大家看这个不一样的题型啊。第二个就是建议该怎么做的这种题型哦。我们之前有讲过，它在后半部答案会蹦出来。那我们来看一下其他的题目是不是也这样。我们看到这边啊 ，What does the man suggest they do before the meeting？ 这男生呢，他建议说，会议开始之前要干嘛 ？OK，suggest they do before the meeting。所以呢，一样就是这个建议题，通常答案会出现在这个 passage 的中后段哦。好，那我们来看一下到底是哪一个？它是要 design the presentation, practice the presentation, email the presentation to the client， 还是最后一个 give the presentation to their superior？OK， 把这个简报呢给他的上级，给他上司看一看。
I've just confirmed the meeting with the client for next Friday.
Excellent. I already have all the data analyzed and the spreadsheets prepared. Is there anything else we need to have ready?
If the presentation is good to go, I think we should be okay. Still, we should definitely run through it a few times for practice.
Still, we need to run through it a few times for practice. 听到这边，聪明的各位应该答案就
I'll spend
蹦
this
出来了，对
weekend
不对？
double-checking all my stats and sources as well. I don't want any mistakes when it comes to our proposed management strategy for their business.
Question.
What does the man suggest they do before the meeting?
Alright， 好，所以呢，答案就是要练习嘛，哈。OK， 它落在哪个地方呢？你看 ，If the presentation is good to go， 如果这个简报档已经做好了 ，I think we should be okay. Still， 这边就是转折词哦。之前说过啦，转折词呢，通常后面会蹦出答案哦。Still, we should definitely run through it a few times for practice. 我们还是要整个跑过几次，然后好好的练习一下 for practice. OK， 好，所以这题就是这样蹦出来的哈。Practice the presentation. OK， 好，那这边我们来看一下，这里有一个单字哦 ，double checking all my stats. OK， 这个 stats 就是 statistics. OK， 它的缩写啊 ，statistics， 好，就是统计的数字。OK， stats and sources as well. OK， 好，那这边就没有什么太大的问题了啊。另外一个 spreadsheets 呢是这个试算表，也就是说 Windows 里面的这个 Excel 哦，这个就是一个试算表的软体。可是呢，比如说 Mac 用的它就不叫 Excel，Google 用的也不叫 Excel， 所以呢，这些东西通称都叫做 spreadsheet。所以呢，这个东西哦，你不要每次都说它是 Excel，No， it's a spreadsheet， 记得 spreadsheet 试算表。OK， 以上是我们今天的课程内容，我是建安老师，我们下堂课见，拜拜。
See you next time.